This is Franky Rose's Think Tank. Here's your host, Franky Rose.
Hey, friends, welcome to the Think Tank and to the Think Tank's 24 Days of Christmas. So, welcome to the first of our 24. So, we're going to talk about this fellow, Dayquane Barnes. So, he has been in trouble more than one time, this guy. So I thought maybe he'd be a good one to touch on. So he started his career quite young. He faced multiple charges by the time he was 17. And by that time, 17 years old, the ripe old age, he figured out how to start escaping from these places. So him and a few of his other pals, once they escaped and were put back in the Huskow, they faced even more charges. So he's pretty much what you would want to call a career criminal. I don't know, many people say that institutionalized possibly, but I just think some people are better behind the bars, safer for the rest of us. So let's see here. It says days after a neighbor was deleted in Dayquane's Wilmington apartment building, the 31-year-old podcaster, oh yes, he's a podcaster, posted an Instagram video of himself working out with a voiceover that says, I battle demons every day that no one knows about, anything about. So now Barnes, who used to podcast and used social media accounts to push for accountability, responsibility, and positiveness, is now facing M charges after police say they found his DNA on a mask used in an attack on December 1st. This was the taking away of Larry Tate. Both lived in the same building, but separate units. Barnes is being held at the Howard R. Young Correctional Institution. Before his August 8 arrest, Barnes could be found on various social media platforms, espousing at times misogynistic and often profanity-laced statements on what he believed was right and how people should take responsibility for their actions. That included a post he made 8 days after taking Tate's life, in which Barnes appears to tell his 34,000 Instagram followers what it's like to have to look over your back and committing a heinous crime, and asks what people are prepared to do if they want to live a demon life. Barnes runs down a list of examples, such as asking if they are prepared to lose sleep, be extra vigilant when opening doors, including to their homes, able to quickly monitor streets, cars, and people when leaving their homes, willing to limit what you do and when you can do it, when you don't have a weapon. You got to literally use your curse word soul. And a lot of you, he swears a lot through this, don't have the capacity to do that, he said. You don't want to be a demon. It's very short-lived. And if it ain't fruitful at all, I promise. He ended that particular video by saying people who live this life don't glorify it as rappers do. I'm telling you, blanks, during that time walk amongst you like a regular human being, and you'll never bleeping no, Barnes said. Bleeping, don't glorify that bleeping when going through that blinking. I promise you. So 6 days after his arrest, a Newcastle County grand jury indicted Barnes, adding more weapons charges and 1 count of burglary. While police linked Barnes to this deleting using DNA from a discarded mask and surveillance footage, investigators in court documents did not explain Barnes' motive for unaliving the 44-year-old barber. How police charged Barnes. So the Wilmington police were dispatched to the Trinity vicinity at about 2 p.m. for a complaint of a woman screaming while on the sidewalk of 1000 block of North Madison Street. Arriving officers found the woman and were told a man had been SHOT in a main floor apartment. Officers searched the apartment building and found him on the floor of a bedroom suffering from a wound to his head. Tate was taken to an area hospital where he was pronounced unalive. A witness told officers that a man wearing a black mask and a black hooded sweatshirt had shot Tate. While the shooter wore a mask, the witnesses said they could see this person's eyes and that they were light. Officers found a black hooded sweatshirt and a black mask. The DNA did confirm it to be this arsehole's. Investigators also reviewed surveillance video from the area, which showed a masked man wearing a hooded sweatshirt. The video revealed the man was wearing black-colored sweatpants and it had green and yellow designs with white runners on. While the masked man ran out of the frame, he could be seen running in the direction of where a hooded sweatshirt and mask were found. Later during a search, viewing video footage from other surveillance videos, the police were able to see a man wearing similar clothing get in and out of a red Lexus sedan, could afford a Lexus, but was robbing people? Give me a break. A police-worn body camera was able to pick up the Lexus registration. Then in June, investigators received DNA results from the forensic unit with a preliminary association to Barnes. Investigators found that he still lived in the same building. They also learned Barnes owned a red Lexus, which had the same temporary registration as the car seen on the surveillance cameras. The Lexus had temporary registration that was issued the same day as Tate's passing. Investigators looked at the surveillance video from the Delaware Division of Motor Vehicles. Barnes, according to court documents, had been seen inside the DMV wearing black Nike sweatpants. He's just not good at this, is he? With Nike swoosh runners on and a black in color hooded sweater with green and yellow designs. Good Lord. His face was visible, and your affiant was able to identify him as Barnes. Well, Barnes, now this is, let's see here, this is back a bit. This isn't recent. Now, was it last December 1st? I think it was. If not, it was the previous I am going to have to take a boo here, guys. I got my December 1. We just have to figure out the year. So investigators were able to get a search warrant, and they did stop him on the 100 block of North Madison Street. So, yeah, he was absolutely busted. Started his career young and decided that he would just carry it on, like, the way citizens do. So, yeah, this was last year. I had to double check. But the guy has got such a record that always best to double check when there's multiples, right? Good Lord. So, yeah, welcome to December 1st in some poor family's bubble last Christmas. There's so many of these people that, they want to do the act, but they're not interested in dealing with the time. Well, if that's the case, you know what? Stay home, because none of us want to deal with your sorry arses. And even worse, this guy was a podcaster and was trying to tell people how they should live their lives when he obviously couldn't keep things straight himself from a very young age. And even worse, this guy was a podcaster and was trying to tell people how they should live their lives when he obviously couldn't keep things straight himself from a very young age. So, although this particular case was 2022, and may he rest in peace, the victims from this guy ultimately are immense. So let's hope that we don't have to see his face ever again outside of bars. There is a time when it's time to not let them out. And you know what? It doesn't seem like one count is ever enough time. It is not funeral time. So with that said, guys, welcome to day 1. I hope you enjoyed December 1st the best we can when it comes to stories like this. And I'll be back with December 2 tomorrow. Y'all have an absolute great December 1st. And I'll see you guys in the next one.